Good evening, 49er faithful. Welcome to another episode of the live 49ers Mailbag Offseason edition. This is episode 3 of the offseason. Who knew that we would be flying through the offseason at this very pace that we have been knocking it out at? It's been wild. I have enjoyed your interactions. I have certainly enjoyed the offseason to this point. Attempting to keep the content relevant. And today we are doing another episode of the live mailbag, which means that you have asked for that relevant content. I got previously submitted questions that were put in via Twitter that came to me via Gmail at 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. And I've already got people over here in the chat asking their live questions right now. So if you have a live question that you would like answered during the mailbag, please do put it into the chat and help me out by typing in @Rob or @RobShoe before your question. That way I know you are talking to me. I'm going to bring in E. Kim here as the very first question that was asked in the live portion of the mailbag before I go to the previously submitted questions to illustrate that @Rob, just as I said it. E. Kim coming in @Rob. What food are you most interested in eating when you visit Chicago? See, E. Kim knows that I'm making the road trip to Chicago to see the 49ers play on the road at the Bears next season. So he says, what food are you most interested in eating when you visit Chicago? Deep dish pizza outside of Lou Malnati's, which I had last time I was in town, Italian beef and sausage combo sandwich, or Chicago-style hot dog. This is a tough one. I'm a food guy. I may not look like it because I'm, a little bit of a skinny dude, but I can eat. I can definitely put it down. I love some deep dish pizza. So yes, I am excited to hear suggestions from fans as it gets closer to the Chicago game, especially E. Kim. E. Kim is coming through with the suggestions. He helped me out when I was going to Green Bay to see the playoff game. And now he's coming in to hook me up with local Chicago eats. So all of the above. But if I had to pick one, I got to go with the deep dish pizza. There's something about it. You know, my family has a rich Christmas time tradition of eating deep dish pizza on Christmas Eve. We do our own home-cooked, home-baked pizza. And, I got a warm spot in my heart for pizza. I worked in the pizza industry. That was my first, not really my first job, but my first full-time gig. Worked for like 3 years from 14 to 17 at a pizza joint right by my house in Palo Alto, California. Red Boy Pizza. There were some interesting times at that job, let me tell you. That was a long time ago. Just quick story, bear with me. This isn't 49ers related, but I think you'll get a kick out of it. I was there for the World Cup when they hosted. I want to say that was like 1995 when Stanford hosted the World Cup, and it was all in that area. Stanford Stadium had a bunch of the games. And let me tell you, the Brazilian fans were nuts, absolutely nuts. They treated the shopping center that my little pizza joint was in as their own party central. I mean, it was wild. The Brazilian men and women were acting a little crazy and having a good time. And local police were like hands off. They're like, we don't know what to do. It's, it's just, it's part of the World Cup. We got to let them have some fun. And they did. They proceeded to have a lot of fun in that parking lot and in our pizza joint. No question about it. All right, back to Niners stuff. Let's get into people that are already here in the chat. Spy Nick Danger coming in, just offering encouragement and doing the important deed in the offseason, asking anybody who's here to hit that like button if you enjoy the content, because it helps me get my message out there. Ellis10, one of the sneakerheads on this channel, as is E. Kim, who I should have mentioned before. Rob's the man. No, Ellis, you are the man. Everyone that comes in here to talk Niners and have a dialogue about 49ers with fellow faithful is the people that should be recognized. I am just a servant of the people. Alan with a question here. Hello, Rob Shoe. Happy Tuesday from Tyler in Texas. Tyler, Texas, not Tyler in Texas. This is Alan in Tyler, Texas. What's up, Alan? What exactly did Aaron Rodgers say on Instagram yesterday? It was a convoluted post, and let me tell you, I was one of the suckers, one of the 130,000 suckers that watched that program this morning live, Pat McAfee. It was a big nothing burger. The Instagram post yesterday was him basically expressing his gratitude to all of his fellow teammates and people that he spends time with there at the Packers organization. It seemed to be in the vein of a goodbye, as if that was my gratitude to everyone in the organization as I'm on my way out. So the anticipation was that he would then do a reveal on Pat McAfee as to what it was going to be. The first thing he said when he came on the program this morning was, there has been no decision and I will make no announcements on this program. So it did seem to be Aaron Rodgers expressing his gratitude in somewhat of a farewell tone to his Packers teammates, but it ended up being nothing to this point. All right, I'm going to get into some of the previously submitted questions that I have. If you are here live in the chat and you want to put your question in and have me answer it, put it into the chat with @Rob or @RobShoe. Getting to our first previously submitted question. This one comes from the Faithful Boys podcast. P Warrior Niner. I have been invited and graciously have accepted the invitation to join the Faithful Boys podcast this evening. I will be over on their channel at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to send a shout out. I always appreciate it when people reach out to me and ask me to be a part of their program. So shout out to the Faithful Boys podcast. Give them a listen if you haven't. The question here from P Warrior is, what is the psyche of the team if Tom Brady were to sign? Now, this is a hypothetical, so, don't jump down my throat around the idea of Tom Brady. I got a lot of questions today around Tom Brady. 49er faithful want to know some answers around the TB12 stuff. So this one came in, I believe, last year. The 49ers locker room was primarily able to hold it together through that Jimmy G year. It was an awkward year. It was tense at times. Had it gotten any worse than the 3-5 record, the wheels could have come off. It could have gotten ugly. But I have to give significant credit in that part of the fact that the wheels didn't come off, part of the reason the 49ers were able to hold it all together, to me, was the leadership of Jimmy Garoppolo and his decision not to rock the boat, not to be sour in pressers, not to complain about the fact that he had a draft pick sniffing at his heels the entire season. I believe the Niners would not survive another season with both Jimmy G and Trey Lance on the roster. It is time to let Jimmy G go. But we're not talking about Jimmy G. We're talking about Tom Brady in this question. And Tom is different. Let's all just acknowledge that Tom is different to us, and Tom is different to those guys in the locker room as well. The moment you brought Tom in, this is a hypothetical, the moment you brought Tom in, he would instantly have the respect of the locker room. I don't think there's anyone in the NFL that doesn't respect Tom Brady as the GOAT. He had magic before he won the ring in Tampa. After that Super Bowl win, he became God status, not just to fans, but to people in the league, to players, in my belief. He would become the unquestioned leader in the locker room if he were brought in. That's my stance on it. I don't think it would negatively impact Trey at all. It's no poor reflection on your own skill set to sit an additional year behind the GOAT. If it's any other player, even if it's Aaron Rodgers, I think that's different. If it is Tom Brady, the legend, who is that close to retirement, who has expressed his desire to finish his career with the San Francisco 49ers, at least in the past, he has expressed that. I just don't think it's a poor reflection on Trey at that point. The team, the 49ers, would instantly become Super Bowl favorites, and it would be all about business, because that's what Brady is all about. He's always been business first in this latter half of his career. That's how I think the psyche of the team would be. It would be about winning a Super Bowl. It would be about championships. It would be about being professional, being business first. And I think you would see everybody falling in line with that mindset, that psyche. All right, getting to the second previously submitted questions before I jump back into your chat. This one coming in from Andre M, all the way over in Australia. He had some fantastic things to say as well. I appreciated the email that I got from Andre. I love hearing about fans in other countries that follow my show. It was a phenomenal communication from Andre, and I shortened it down to just this question right here. Do you think Kyle and company will be ready come week 1? The talk is all about Trey being ready. What about Kyle? And this was when he expanded upon this. Andre was basically getting to the idea that, like, hey, that's what all the talk has been this offseason. Well, Trey's not quite ready enough. Trey needs to progress a little bit more. Trey this, Trey that. And very little about Coach Shanahan and whether Coach Shanahan was ready to implement a system that featured a mobile quarterback, mobile. Yes, a mobile quarterback. I just keep slipping back into mobile. I'll stick with it. Mobile it is. I think that it's a fair question to ask because Shanahan himself said that he had a hard time, harder than he initially realized, going back and forth between a mobile quarterback in Trey Lance and a non-mobile quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. That said, it needs to be diagnosed a little bit. So let's get into it, Andre. I first and foremost want to say that I agree. I agree with the supposition that Kyle did have limitations with Jimmy G as a quarterback. I'm with Steve Young on this one when Steve said that it appears Kyle never fully trusted Jimmy Garoppolo to attack defenses in the way that Kyle would have wanted to. Steve described Kyle Shanahan as smelling blood in the water and then wanting to attack that like a rabid animal. And that describes Kyle Shanahan to me. I never got the sense that he trusted Jimmy Garoppolo enough. And my belief is that's primarily because of the fact that Jimmy is consistently inconsistent, as I have said many times on this program. Trey should bring an element that this offense didn't have before. His legs offer the ability to extend plays and escape the pocket. His powerful arm unleashes the deep ball and the ability to throw deeper or back across the field after the play breaks down. We have seen him roll out to one side, throw it back across the field to an open receiver on the other. And that is a wild skill set to have. Kyle has shown the ability to unlock a unique offense with a mobile quarterback. His very first season with RG3. Kyle did a pretty phenomenal job designing a unique offense. It featured a lot more run than I would like to see with Trey Lance, but the rookie season stats for RG3, 3,200 yards passing at a 65% completion rate, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks, limiting those turnovers. Great for a rookie. Most impressively, 815 rushing yards with another 7 touchdowns on the ground. I would absolutely take a 4,000-yard, 27 touchdown, 5 interception season from Lance next year. As I said, I would rather it be a little heavier toward pass than it was with RG3. RG3, 3,200 passing, 800 rushing. I would rather see 3,500 and 500, 3,400 and 600, a more even breakdown where it doesn't focus on the run quite as much. Because I think you can be hopeful that the offense he designs for Trey will be more focused on a pocket-style quarterback. Much more of a John Elway in Mike Shanahan's offense than an RG3 in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Instead of the offense designed around the quarterback's ability as a runner, you can design it around their ability as a pocket passer with the ability to run as an added benefit. All right, I want to get back to your questions here in the chat. Always hit up the @Rob or @RobShoe so I know you are talking to me. That Niner guy coming in, @RobShoe, was looking at possible free agents. If the Niners lose DJ Jones, I think they can grab Calais Campbell or Akeem Hicks on a 1-year deal. What do you think? First and foremost, I'll get to it later, but you know me and DJ Jones. You know me. The focus for the Niners should be on getting DJ Jones back. To me, he unlocks the ability to be a top-ranked rush defense, and that sets up what the Niners like to do on pass rushing downs. If you can stop the opposing team on early downs and force them into third and longs, that is an ideal scenario for a great pass rush. To have the opponent in third and long consistently, the Niners were unable to get off of the field a lot this past season, but you would hope that they'd be able to unlock that this coming year if they get into more of those third and longs. I would say that of the two, I'm more familiar with Calais Campbell, and that would probably be my default, but I would be okay with either one of those. And I do think that the 49ers would look to bring in a free agent, a value free agent, if they'd be unable to re-sign DJ Jones. I'm not entirely convinced that DJ Jones is going to get that $6 or $7 million a year. You can find different quotes from different sources. My prediction is that the Niners are able to get him back somewhere closer to that $5 million a year range. I think they do get DJ Jones back. I think DJ Jones wants to be back. All right, E. Kim coming in. At Rob, do you see Brady and or Rodgers retiring this offseason? So Brady technically has retired according to the NFL. But the interesting piece is he never mentioned the word retirement himself, according to sources. I haven't gone back and actually rewatched to make sure he never says the word, but I read a specific article that lays that out, and I have a hard time believing someone would write an entire article without having confirmed that themselves. So I'm trusting that source. I think of the two, Brady strikes me as the one more likely to sit out the entire season. I don't think either one officially retires. I think both are not done playing in the NFL. Rodgers, with his Instagram post, did certainly send a strange message that was, I'm grateful to all the people I spent time with. And typically you wouldn't send that message unless you were on your way out the door or retiring in its entire, in totality. Walking away from the game. Who retires first might be a more interesting question, and I would say Brady. I think Rodgers has another 3 years in him. Once he gets out of Green Bay, if he gets out of Green Bay, I think he will be rejuvenated. Joey Nichols, at Rob Shue. Calvin Ridley is reportedly on the trade block. Is he someone we should kick the tires on? What if the price is a second rounder? I mean, talent-wise, yes, absolutely. Calvin Ridley is someone that the Niners should explore and explore thoroughly. I think in doing that exploration, and I want to be careful about this because I want to first acknowledge that Calvin Ridley went through some significant mental health issues, I believe. I'm not entirely familiar with the situation, and therefore I don't want to speak on it as if I have considerable info to share or background on Calvin Ridley. But I want to say that I respect anyone who's dealing with mental health issues. I respect mental health issues in its totality. And therefore, I want to say this in a gentle way. But the 49ers, within the Shanahan and Lynch era, have dealt with someone who apparently didn't have the desire to play football in Joe Williams, someone who stepped away from the game, had enough red flags coming out in the draft to where teams removed him from their draft board. But Kyle Shanahan fell in love with what he could do in the offense and convinced John Lynch to draft him anyway. That didn't end very well for the 49ers. So in this case, I do believe that you should be interested. The talent is phenomenal, and perhaps it was a one-off type of an issue for Mr. Ridley. That said, I do think you have to be very diligent in confirming his desire to stick this out, to make it a real second go in the league. Because what you don't want to have happen is giving up a draft asset for someone who then decides in the end that they do want to step away from the game. So I think a lot of due diligence has to be done there. But talent-wise, absolutely. I would trade more than a second rounder for him. Willie coming in at Rob Shue. To get more cap space and getting draft picks, what do you think about trading guys like Jimmy G, Greenlaw, Armstead, and Kittle, only if he doesn't want to play with Lance? I'm totally on board with trading Jimmy G. You got to get Jimmy G out of the building. That thing is that That dog can't hunt anymore. Like that was a terrible butchering of that saying. Correct me if you heard that and you know the original saying. So what I meant by that is you had enough drama within the locker room with Jimmy G and Lance on the same team last year, and they held it together. Don't push your luck. So yes, Jimmy out the door. Greenlaw, I do think that you have enough depth at the linebacker position where you could send him off. And the 49ers did something similar to that. The name is escaping me right now, but it was another linebacker that we traded to the Denver Broncos, and we recouped a 6th-round pick. Greenlaw is a better candidate than that gentleman was. Again, his name is escaping me at the moment. You would think that the Niners could potentially get back a 5th rounder for Dre Greenlaw. I would explore that option. Armstead and Kittle, I would not. The Armstead contract is a large one, and I'm just not sure what you would get back. I know the Niners value him for his contributions in the community and his Swiss Army knife style along the defensive line. His flexibility there gives them considerable advantages in playing him inside, outside, having some options along the defensive line, and they certainly value those options. Kittle, to me, he means too much to the offense. His blocking, his ability in space, his yards after the catch, his mindset. And again, you're looking at a big contract, tough one to trade. Armstead and Kittle, no. But I definitely would trade Jimmy G, no question, and explore all options for Dre Greenlaw. Daniel, at Rob, are you going to watch the USFL? What team are you supporting? Yes, I will, because any type of football I'm in, well, that's not true, because I don't watch the Canadian Football League. I'm sorry, Canada. I am sorry. I should, but the meters freak me out. Anyway, I digress. I will watch that. I haven't picked a team yet. You know, gotta try for something. Gotta try for something close to Portland. We need a Portland team so that I can root for them. Right now, I haven't picked anyone, Daniel, but I will watch. I heard someone mention to me that maybe the draft is happening soon, today. I don't know. Tell me. Mr. Darth, a.k.a. Lord Vivaren, at Rob Shue. I'm bald also. How is your head not cold? It is cold all the time, and I just have to wear a beanie. That's the reality. It is 68 degrees in my home right now, and I'm a little bit chilly. So, yes, I deal with a chilly head, Mr. Darth, and I feel your pain. Spy Nick Danger, at Rob Shue. Do you trust Lynch and Shanahan to draft and sign the right free agents to build a winning team? I do. I think that they've done a good job in bringing in free agents. A couple of trades and a couple of draft picks have not gone their way. But I believe that they've done a pretty good job with their free agent picks. So, yes, I do trust them. I got to try and catch up. Ooh, look at this. J10 coming in. Red Boy Pizza. No way. That's my favorite. Dude, I worked at Red Boy Pizza from 1992 through 1995. It was epic. Those were some funny years. Made a lot of interesting pizzas for myself, let me tell you. Eduardo coming in, at Rob. Did you see a rumor of Jimmy to the Steelers for a 4th? What do you think? I've been predicting Jimmy to the Steelers for a long time. I like that landing spot. A 4th seems really light as far as compensation for me. All right, I got to get to this super chat. Steve Avia put in here, one of our sneakerheads. Sorry about that, Steve. Didn't mean to butcher the last name, but Steve Avia coming in, at Rob. I believe in Trey 100%. But if Tom Brady wanted to play a final season with the 49ers, would it be so bad for him to learn from the GOAT? I believe Jimmy G is only as good as he is because of TB12. I definitely would be okay with this. And I just don't see it as a shot on Trey Lance. I don't think that it's a poor reflection on his abilities at all, nor his readiness. I think you shouldn't have passed up on Tom Brady the first time that he came by and offered his services to the San Francisco 49ers. That was a mistake. And it would be a mistake to pass up on his services this time around. The 49ers would, jump to the front of the line as far as odds to win the Super Bowl. And so to me, you absolutely explore it. And you would think that Trey Lance would learn from Tom Brady. I'm I don't know what evidence there is that suggests that Jimmy Garoppolo is that much better because of the time that he spent behind Tom Brady. I haven't read considerable evidence to that fact, but you would assume that someone would get better in spending time around someone who is that great, even if it's just by watching what it is they do and emulating the way in which they handle their business. Tom Brady certainly has a way about him, a business approach to the NFL, and any young gentleman would benefit from learning from that individual, from observing that individual. And I would like to think in that scenario, if the 49ers consider bringing in Tom Brady, that it would be with an agreement that, yes, he would in fact spend some time with Trey Lance and be a bit of a mentor for him if the intention was to bring in Tom for, just a year or so. All right, scrolling back up to try to get to some of these comments that I missed. Going for the @RobShoe comments here. I apologize in advance if I miss any of them because there are a lot. You guys are excited with the questions, and I love it. I'm all about it. Eric Sully, @Rob, linebacker core, in my opinion, they were so underrated and played so well this year. What are your thoughts on the linebacking core? And do you think we keep all Alshire and Dre this year? Me personally, I hope we do. Eric, I agree. It's a very deep room. I just explored it a moment ago. I would consider the trade of Dre Greenlaw because I think it's important to get value back for him before he becomes a free agent next season. However, if the value were not a 5th rounder, I would not let Dre Greenlaw go for a 6th or 7th rounder. I would keep that depth there because I'm with you. It's an impressive room with him in it. Keithy7 coming in @RobShoe. Would you take wide receiver Romeo Doubs in the 3rd round to give Lance a vertical threat, or maybe target Deshaun Jackson or Braxton Berrios in free agency? I definitely want to draft a speedy wide receiver. I want to draft a speedy wide receiver that is also a return man. I do not have specific names that I am tuned into at the moment, but I will as we approach the draft. Do not sleep on that position. Raphael 5629ers coming in. Sneakerhead doing the good work. Like and subscribe, everyone. Yes, please. If you enjoy the content, please do like the video. Tyke 182 @RobShoe and Rob play the kid. I have no problem. So let me talk about this. I think what he's saying is no, Rob, in regard to Tom Brady. And that's just me answering questions. These are hypotheticals about Tom Brady coming in. I am very excited about Trey Lance playing. I am very optimistic about the 49ers' chances at getting deep into the playoffs yet again with Trey Lance behind center. But I have to entertain the idea of Tom Brady and others coming in. Wanda Brown coming in. Sup, Rob? What's up, Wanda? How you doing? All right, Tyke 182 @RobShoe. Trey is not RG3, Rob. He throws first. Kyle is a limited coach. I agree in that supposition that Trey is not RG3 and he does throw first. That was why in my first topic that I went through, I talked about Kyle designing a system that would be for a primary pocket passer first. I'm in agreement with you there. I can't agree with Kyle being a limited coach, but I'd be interested to hear why you believe that. I think he lacks in certain areas as a head coach, but I wouldn't describe him as limited. Perhaps that's synonymous, though. Sean 9519ers, the sneakerhead here on the channel and regular call in for the sneakerhead program. Excellent content @RobShoe. If Shanahan Lynch thought Lance was truly ready, they would shut down the A-Rod and Brady chatter. But no, they are radio silent. No advantage to Trey hearing this every day if he's ready. There's some validity to that, Sean. I can get on board with that logic. The other thing I would say, though, is what do they have to gain if they believe Trey can withstand this rumor mill? If they believe he has the character to let it bounce off of him, what would they have to gain by shutting it down? Because they may legitimately be interested if one of these things presented themselves. And that doesn't necessarily reflect poorly on Trey. That would be my stance. When you bring in the greatest of all time, I love Trey. I would be excited for Trey. I don't think it's a poor reflection on a young quarterback to sit behind someone who has the most Super Bowl wins in NFL history. Neil, at Rob, biggest re-signings are DJ Jones and Tomlinson. I would also like to keep Al-Shaair. Yes, I have a topic coming up that is all about who I would keep. I will be getting to that in just a moment. I just want to make sure I'm catching up in the comments because I'm falling behind, people. You're so excited, and I love it. Biz coming in at Rob. Who do you think their target is for cornerback? That's the position, in my opinion, needed most. I think the 49ers may disagree with you there. I think the 49ers deprioritize the cornerback position. I think that they will go edge rusher ahead of cornerback, both in free agency and the draft. They'll prioritize edge rusher. They'll prioritize offensive line, interior offensive line specifically. They'll prioritize safety. They'll prioritize edge rusher, offensive line, safety, maybe even returner before then. I do think they have to bring in somebody, free agency draft, because K'Wan Williams is a free agent. You have a couple of players, free agents, as far as outside cornerbacks. So you need a slot corner and you need depth at outside corner. To me, I think that they will bring in a B-grade free agent and draft someone in the mid rounds. I don't think we see any significant investments. I do not think that they're bringing in J.C. Jackson. I do not think that they are bringing in Stephon Gilmore. I don't think we see any of the high-priced free agents for cornerback, unfortunately. Biz coming back in at Rob Shue. What do you think they target for cornerback? Ooh, also please subscribe. Just got through the cornerback, but you said subscribe, so I love that. T Breezy at Rob, why would we be interested in McCaffrey? Haven't we learned our lesson from McKinney, a.k.a. the Jet? That was a laugh. That was a laugh. Yes, I do not believe the Christian McCaffrey rumors. It seemed like a very weak link to the San Francisco 49ers. That would be a huge mistake in my book. You haven't seen him come back from a couple significant injuries, so you just wonder what exactly he has left as far as explosion. Now, my guess is that he's still pretty explosive and that he would be a phenomenal weapon within the Kyle Shanahan offense. But we can find value in guys like Elijah Mitchell and bringing in free agents that can rediscover their past greatness. So I just don't, again, much like cornerback, I don't see the 49ers expending a lot of assets to bring in someone as a running back. We got a lot of interest in the cornerbacks, though. Admin Honor, in regard to talking about those trades earlier, at Rob, I will trade Kittle and Armstead to the Jaguars for their number 1 overall pick and draft Hutchinson of Michigan to pair with Bosa and save $25 million cap space to sign Gilmore and re-sign DJ Jones, who we've renamed CJ Jones in this. That's an interesting one. That strikes me as something that could get done a little bit easier in Madden, right? In the video game format. That's a big trade to swing Kittle and Armstead for the number 1 overall. I mean, I haven't done a lot of digging into the Jaguars to say definitively where their needs are. As far as value goes, you can make a pretty compelling case that Kittle and Armstead might be worth the number 1. I don't know. The number 1 overall pick is a steep price. You might have to throw in a draft pick or 2 there. I agree it would be thrilling to have 2 bookend rushers that can get after the quarterback. That said, I just don't know that you're going to be able to pay both of them when the bill comes due. And so you're going to be up against it later on anyway. But I get where you're going. I mean, you would have significant depth on the team that you otherwise wouldn't. Question I have is, who are you starting at tight end? I mean, we would be pretty barren without Kittle out there this particular year. HR, one of our sneakerheads at Rob, would love to get a reliable punt returner and kick returner. Me too. It needs to be a priority. Harbaugh understood investing in special teams, and I think finally Coach Shanahan may be coming around to it. Biz saying at Rob, I think Jimmy goes to Washington. I think they will give the higher picks. I hope so. I love the rumor that maybe they give the 11th overall pick. Let's do it. Yes. T Breezy at Rob, I would love to see us bring back DJ Reed. We had invested a lot in him. A big mistake on Kyle Shanahan's part to try to pass him through waivers. Big mistake as a head coach. I don't know that at the time it was as big, but in hindsight, it was a mistake. They should not have attempted to get him onto injured reserve by waiving him previous summer. And it did cost them. The Seahawks swooped him up And I agree. It could be a good fit because he gives you flexibility of playing slot and outside. The Niners need depth there. I think DJ Reed may be a name that they explore. I think there's every possibility that they look into DJ Reed. Joey coming in at Rob Shue. After a hypothetical Brady season, how confident are we in a third-year guy with only one full year of football since high school? I mean, I would be just as confident as I am this year, and I'm pretty confident this year. I saw enough from him in the games this season, in the tape from college, and in the talent evaluators within the Niners organization. So I'm confident in it. It's a risk. Everything is a risk. But I don't know that you get any less confident after he spends time behind Brady. You would think he would probably get a few snaps this season as well, even in that hypothetical. Ricardo, at Rob Shue, Jimmy to the Steelers for a fourth and $25 million. Now I'm sold. Are you going to give me $25 million? I'll take it. Joey, at Rob Shue, after a hypothetical. Oh, here we go. That was a repeat. I got that one already. Is at Rob Trey Day, but I definitely say yes to Brady. I think a lot of people would. All right, I need to get back to some previously submitted questions. Again, if you want to put your question live in the chat as I've been answering them, type in the at Rob or at Rob Shue. That way I know you're asking the question of me. I will be right back into your comments in a moment. All right, this one comes in from Ev Days. Ev is one of my favorites on Twitter. If you do not follow Ev, you have to. You have to. Everett Days on Twitter, at Everett Days. Look it up. It's a worthwhile follow. Ev comes in and says, which personality would mesh better with Coach Kyle's ego and style, Brady or Rodgers? Between those two, I got to say Brady. They would both clash with Kyle, in my opinion. But Brady seems much more likable than Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's recency bias and everything frickin' Aaron Rodgers has been saying and going through over this past year. But even on his appearance on the Pat McAfee show this morning, he's talking about this frickin' cleanse that he just did. And he just comes across, I'm sorry, Aaron, I don't mean to call names, but he comes across a little douchey. He really does. And I don't mean to be petty like that, but it's this smugness that it rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I should probably, it's probably my issue and not Aaron's issue. I shouldn't insult someone like that. I don't mean to be cruel. I'm not intending to be cruel. It's just my honest opinion of Rodgers' attitude. His arrogance is a bit more palpable than Brady's. Brady's at least 1,000% earned his arrogance, right? Like you can't question Brady's arrogance. It's like, oh, well, yeah, you're arrogant, but like, yeah, you're the GOAT. So I guess the arrogance is kind of warranted in that matter. Rodgers likes to talk like he's the GOAT, but still only has the one ring and it doesn't seem to be as well regarded by his teammates either. Tom strikes me as a guy who's going to tell you that he's pissed when you step on his toes. Rodgers seems like the guy that sulks and then talks trash, was going to say something else, talks trash behind your back and gets a resentment and then sort of broods over it a little bit. But the best personality to go with Kyle would be a grinder, a film rat, somebody who loves to study, someone with an unquestionable work ethic who just adores the game of football, goes hard every single day. Deebo Samuel is the perfect example of that. He and Kyle Shanahan very clearly get along. There have been stories coming out about Deebo Samuel stopping into Kyle Shanahan's office on a regular basis and having conversations with Kyle. I know another personality that reminds me of that on the team, and that is Lance, which Ev agrees on because the second part of his question came in with, for the record, I think that it will be Trey, but I want your take on the above hypothetically just for fun. He thinks it's going to be Trey that starts, and I think he agrees with me that Trey's personality would be the best fit. All right, we got a bunch of comments streaming in, so I got to get to those first before I go to some more previously submitted ones. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. E. Kim, at Rob, I forgot about the Maxwell Street Polish sausage in Chicago, still coming in with food recommendations. You're the man, E. Kim. Just the man. Biz, at Rob, do you think they will keep Arden Key? I think they will try. And I think Arden Key will take slightly less money to stay with the 49ers if he has comparable offers. I believe him when he talks about the brotherhood of that defensive line room. They are a close-knit bunch, and Chris Kosarick is a phenomenal coach that guys adore playing for. Sean 9519ers at Rob Shoe. Okay, on the perspective, but if Trey is legit ready, there's no need for A-Rod or Brady chatter. Tell Trey it's his team and we're using all resources to support him in 2022 and beyond. That's a valid argument that they could make Trey feel more supported by killing these rumors, and they haven't. It's a fair critique. Sean, going further, if I was Trey, I'd want to hear, I'm the man. If I attack this offseason and get better, I'm good. Then I know the team is building around me and everyone has my back to get number 6. I agree, but it's also football, which is oftentimes about iron sharpening iron. It is about the competition and about making people better through competition. So I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing to have Trey believe that, well, someone might push me to get a little bit better. If one of those players is the MVP of the season 2 years running, or the GOAT of the league. Again, I think in those two instances, it's different than bringing in a solid backup that's going to push Trey for the starting role. Ellis 10 at Rob Shoe. Jimmy and a third to the Steelers for the number 20 overall pick. I would do that in a heartbeat. Ellis. Do the Steelers have the 20th? Is that their first rounder? I would love that. Love that, Ellis. Bull Pup coming in at Rob. I love the idea. Jimmy for Sweat. To me, that one's awkward because what's his first name? Montez Sweat of the Washington Commanders. God, I almost blanked on what their name is. Bullpup is referencing this trade that's been floated, that you would get Montez Sweat for Jimmy Garoppolo, even trade. Montez Sweat has a very manageable cap number because he's on the 4th year of his rookie deal. The problem with that is he's on his 4th year of his rookie deal. He's about to be a free agent. So it would be a 1-year rental. And if the 49ers had the opportunity to bring in a second-round pick, I would rather have a second-round pick than a 1-year rental on an edge rusher. I love Montez Sweat, but if you're not going to sign him long-term, to me, that just doesn't fit quite as well. Whoa, I am sorry that I did not see that trash in the comments. I just blocked that individual. And I just want to take a moment to just question, I don't understand why people choose to do that in the comments. I don't understand what people get out of that. I don't understand why people feel the need to display hate in that way. Admittedly, it confuses me to some extent. And it is fair to say that I do need to get somebody in to be a moderator on the channel. I like to try and cover it myself, but man, that just shook me a little bit. To me, it is, wow, I'm blocking a couple other people as well. That's a shame. I'd love to have people reach out. Hit me at 49ersmailbag@gmail.com because I do want to bring in some moderators. That just sealed it for me. I have had the people come in and do the, an ad for an adult website that constantly gets put in there. And by the way, I saw someone else doing one letter at a time and I blocked them. If you were saying something that was, just in response to someone, get at me if I blocked someone mistakenly. But as far as I know, I just blocked 2 people that were, I think there's a good way to put it. People looking for attention. And sorry, that took me completely off track because I just don't see my channel as a channel that you would do that on. I'm all about respect. I hope that I treat people with respect. And it's crazy to me that anyone would want to put that out there. Anyway, I will attempt to stay on the moderating for the frickin' rest of the show. It's hard to do because I'm staying 10 minutes behind in the comments. And then when I scroll down, I come across something like that. Just, man, took me off my game there. It really is, it's unfortunate. I don't know what else to say. It makes me sad. That's what it makes me. It makes me sad that there are people out there that want to spread hate like that. So if you're still watching and that was you, why? Like, what did I do? What did anyone else do? What did the people that you're spreading hate about do? Like, I don't understand it. It saddens me. It literally saddens me that we live in a society where someone feels the need to do something like that. It's unfortunate. It says much more about you than it does anyone else. Be clear about that. Be clear that if you are that troll, it says something very, very horribly wrong about you as an individual, that you must look in the mirror, that you've got some self-exploration to do, that you need to understand why you feel this way, why you're so angry. And I apologize to people for letting it take me off course, but I just have to say something about it because I'm not cool with that. And I think it deserves recognition of calling it out. All right, I'm going to get back to some of the comments. I'm going to go with the previously submitted one. Again, I'm going to try to keep my eye on that chat to make sure nobody is coming back in because that's just sad, man. That's just sad. And I'm disappointed in whoever it was that did that. Just know that you don't have my respect. All right, this one comes in from Carlos D. Why doesn't Kyle have more running back screens, which are very useful versus dominant pass rushes in his playbook? First to call out, Kyle does have running back screens in the playbook, just doesn't use them as much as they should, not quite as often. Doesn't get the ball to the backs nearly enough, in my opinion. Juice is a phenomenal receiving threat for a fullback. Jeff Wilson Jr. has good hands. Mostert, great receiver, unfortunately, going down early in the year. But the biggest question is Trey improving in his mechanics and touch on those short passes, in my mind. His ability to get it to those backs. In my opinion, he was clearly thinking too much this season, in particular early on. I saw him warming up, saw his mechanics in Seattle when I was there physically present for the games. For that game, I was about 10 rows from the Niners sideline, so I was able to actually look at Trey Lance and watch him. And it just looked like he was trying to get down his throwing motion. A full offseason of working on those mechanics, having already learned the offense, should help him be ready next year. To me, if Kyle does have a quarterback he trusts in the short game, maybe he uses it more frequently. So to me, it could be that Trey unlocks that particular portion of the game. All right, getting back into the chat. Matthew Mears is asking, what happened? What'd you miss? Nothing. You missed a troll who wasn't worth our time. Giancarlo, at Rob Shue, I love your channel. What do you think we could get for Jimmy if Rodgers retires and Brady confirms he won't come back? If those two chess pieces come off of the table, and let's throw out there that it's looking like Russell Wilson stays in Seattle, if there's still 6 or 7 quarterback needy teams and these other quarterback options, these elite quarterback options fall off the table, I mean, Deshaun Watson's situation isn't getting much better at this point in time. He just had to agree to some sort of arbitration that he put out there. Man, it's the price could go up for Jimmy Garoppolo, no doubt. Here we go. At Rob Shue, I commend you for your thoughts and stance against these trolls. This is why we appreciate you as much as we do. Your content is fire. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. It really did shake me to know that there's someone out there. It's weak. Shane coming in. Way to take a stand, bro. This is my first time watching, and you just earned a subscriber. I appreciate that, Sean. Shane, I'm sorry. Yeah, man, that was, I just had to respond. Like, I don't like to give airtime to trolls, but in that instance, I don't feel like I was giving the airtime to the troll. I feel like I stopped my flow because of the troll, but then got into a topic that just needed to be said after that. I felt it had to be. Chris Royal, one of our sneakerheads coming in. It's unfortunate there are filthy people like that. I agree. It is very unfortunate. And those people just need help. They just need something. There's something missing in their lives. There's something missing in their heart. There's something missing in their souls. There's something that they haven't found in themselves. And I feel badly for them. I feel badly for them because there's something that they need to fill that they can't. And I wish they found a healthier way to fill it. I wish that they didn't bring that trash around me. I wish that they showed enough respect for me and what I'm trying to do here, because I show respect for everyone that I come into contact with in this world, regardless of whether I agree with them or not. But yeah, I just wonder how much pain is that individual in that they need to send something like that out there into the world. Steve Avia, one of our sneakerheads coming in at Rob, Jesus loves your heart, brother. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. I appreciate that message. I do believe in being a peacemaker. I do believe in spreading positivity. I do think that positivity usually begets positivity. One Bad Hawkeye at Rob. Who do you prefer if Rodgers and Brady were free agents? Who would you go after and why? To me, Tom Brady. Because of the attitude of Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't want that in my organization. I really wouldn't. To me, it's toxic. And again, it's like the negativity we were just talking about. Negativity breeds negativity in my book. Mark coming in, I stand with this. The great city of San Francisco won't stand for any racist crap. Amen to that. George at Rob, when you come out and say stuff like that, we can all see the genuine good person you are. Thank you for that, my man. Respect to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. JT Conlon, keep that respect up always. That is one consistent you will get on this channel. I mean that wholeheartedly when I talk about respect, when I talk about respecting everyone. And I'm with Mike here. I hate racism. I hate it. I hate the ignorance that feeds it. Fazil at Rob, this is why we love you. You're an amazing person with great character, and you are not afraid to tackle these issues in the world. Keep doing you. You are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, Rob. I appreciate that. And I appreciate those that also chime in with I hate racism. Yeah. And Chris is probably right here. Rob, too much time on that trash. Don't worry, bro. Much respect. Yeah, you do have to move on from it. No question. No question. Ooh, Texas Niner. Wait a minute. I like this disagreement. I need more information, though, Texas Niner. I need to know which part of it you're disagreeing with. That you would take Rodgers over Brady, or that you think I'm wrong about Rodgers' attitude within the team. Because admittedly, there aren't many teammates that say bad things about Rodgers. Anyways, Texas Niner came in to say, Rob, I couldn't disagree with you more on your Rodgers take. So I'm interested to know which part of the Rodgers take you disagree with, Texas Niner, because I'm open to it. I mean, let me say this. If we're not talking Brady or Rodgers, or, Rodgers or Trey, and you just said, what do you think of Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers? I'd be pretty excited about that. And the freaking playoff odds, the Super Bowl odds would go through the roof with Rodgers as well. So I'm on board for it. No question. Ron E. Niner coming in. Much love from Arizona. Ron, I got your question last on the previously submitted questions. Stick around. You will be up in a little bit. Darren at Rob, we had your back in the chat. This is a good chat room. It is. It's a healthy chat room, save for that one or two frickin' people. But I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate that there were people chiming in. Hey, Rob, saw this. Hey, Rob, you might want to block this individual right now. Melvin coming in. Rob, you got a good heart, man. I thank you for what you do. Thank you, Melvin. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the love. And Alan, I'm with you. Hate that racism. Hate it. It's ignorance. SG Sports Talk channel. Rob, you are the GOAT. Appreciate that. All right, Texas Niner getting into this debate on Aaron Rodgers. At Rob, I would take Rodgers over Brady. I think Rodgers gets a sour hand. A lot of people think I'm tough to handle. So this is self-reflection here. This is you thinking like that you are sort of a Rodgers type. Texas Niner, you've never been a Rodgers type in my book. Nothing but love between us. So I get what you're saying there, that you're prioritizing talent over any type of friction that might happen in the locker room. I guess I have to concede that. Arm talent, if I'm comparing Brady to Rodgers, I probably give the nod to Rodgers. But the whole package as a quarterback, I still got to give it to Brady. And so it would be a one-year rental. You might have me if you made the case of, well, Rodgers, you could get multiple years. But I like the Brady scenario for that very reason, that you could do a one-year deal and then get to Lance. Because bottom line is I'm excited for frickin' Lance. And yes, would I be okay with the whole distraction of one of the greatest of all time coming to the team? I would, but I still want to move on to Lance. LOL, you thought. At Rob, if we did end up with one, it has to be Brady. He's shown he knows how to win. Rodgers has shown he knows how to get a good passer rating. Ooh. Shots fired at Rodgers. Yes, he is 0-4 against the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs. No question about it. Shane calls that out. At Rob, Brady's the GOAT. And though I love Rodgers, he is 0-4 against us. Why would we pick the guy he beat? Why would he pick the guy he beat so many times and we beat so many times? I'm just getting mixed up. Brady is the GOAT. And though I love Rodgers, he is 0-4 against us. Why would we pick the guy that we beat that many times in the playoffs? Man, tongue twister for no good reason. I agree, Shane. That is well said. Yes, I would select Tom Brady as well. And that wasn't awkwardly written. I just couldn't read it for some reason. E. Kim, at Rob, Montez Sweat is a first-round free agent and has a fifth-year option. You could hit the fifth-year option if he is a first-round talent, but that option needed to be hit already. That's interesting. I need to dig into that, E. Kim. I can't speak to it right now, but he did clarify. Yes, first-round draft pick. All right, I am getting over into the one more comment from Texas Niner. At Rob, not sure what happened. People losing it left and right. Crazy. Back to football. True. Brady for 1 year to get back to Lance. Okay. So he was just wondering what in the hell had gone on because he was late to the party. But yes, agreeing that the idea of 1 year of Brady so that you can get to Lance is a plus in that book. But again, these are all hypotheticals that I'm just responding to. I am on board with Lance. That's my preference. All right. Getting to a previously submitted question. This one is about the free agents. For $30 million in cap space. This is a hypothetical. The Niners have $30 million in cap space available in this hypothetical from Silent. For the $30 million in cap space, list the top 5 free agents you would want the Niners to sign. And then he puts his own, and I respect that because we're aligned on most of these. Number 1, DJ Jones. Number 2, Laken Tomlinson. Number 3, Azeez Al-Shaair. Number 4, Arden Key. It did misspell Azeez, but I will forgive you for that. It's a difficult name to spell. I should have corrected it. That's my apologies. I copied and pasted. 4, Arden Key. 5, Raheem Mostert. We are almost in lockstep on this one. All of my top 5 free agent priorities are also 49ers free agents, just as you have listed here. My list is pretty similar. I start off the same. DJ Jones. Why? Because I'm a big DJ Jones supporter. You all know this. I love the big man in the middle. Even though he only plays about half the defensive snaps, his ability to stuff the run is paramount to the defense. Laken Tomlinson. You could even argue, because he starts 100% of the snaps on the offensive line, that he's a bigger priority than DJ Jones. But he's more expensive. He's going to be harder to bring back. He may get more interest on the free agent market. So I've got him right behind DJ Jones, but it's 1A and 1B for me. It's not a full 1 and 2 there. And then my third one is Raheem Mostert. I think that's a bigger priority than people let on. I think it can be had fairly cheap. And when healthy, he unlocks something within this offense that was missing the entire 2021 season. Then I've got Arden Key. I don't think we're going to be able to bring Arden Key back unless he wants to take a minor discount to stay with the Niners. And lastly, I've got Jaquiski Tart. I think the veteran presence at safety paired up with Jimmy Ward is a great secondary to have, a great safety pairing to have, and it allows us to have these younger, less experienced corners. To me, that would be my top 5. Going back into the comments to see the @Rob and @RobShoe live questions that are being submitted. Here we go. @Rob, how would you feel about signing Cordarrelle Patterson? 2 dual threat weapons on one team. I would be fine with this if we don't break the bank to do it. My stance is that Debo's camp, if you spent too much on Cordarrelle Patterson, could flinch at that because they haven't gotten their bag and they're not going to get their bag until July. So his agent may not like the Niners going out and getting Cordarrelle Patterson. But Jack, I was on with him and he countered that by saying they may actually like it because it could be fewer snaps for Debo at the running back position, saving his body. Here we go. John, @Rob, you'd rather trade Jimmy for a proven player or a first rounder? It depends on the player, John. But I get where you're going with this. So the first rounder is less expensive, but you've got like a 50-50 shot of it actually working out. Maybe a 60-40 shot of it actually working out, but less expensive. And that is key. You get the proven veteran, you know that they're a proven player in the NFL. You're not 100% sure that they're going to work within your scheme. Every now and then you see a team spend money on a very proven free agent who comes to their organization and just falters for some reason. So there's some risk involved in each. I would need to know the player. In general, I would probably take the first rounder because of how tight the cap situation is for the Niners right now. John Carlo, @RobShoe, in your opinion, do you think that Trey Lance, whether or not he is with the 49ers, will win a Super Bowl? That's interesting. It's very hard to do. It's not on Trey to do it. It's on whatever team he plays for, currently our San Francisco 49ers. Yes, because of the team he is on, because of his head coach, because of where we have gotten with Jimmy Garoppolo as our quarterback, yes, Giancarlo, I do believe that Trey Lance wins the Super Bowl. And I believe it's with the Niners. Robert Pacheco coming in, @RobShoe. Appreciate all the positive that you bring to all the 49ers fans. Keep it up. I appreciate that. I really do like it when people come on just to say nice things because I believe that positivity breeds positivity. One Bad Hawkeye, @Rob, do you agree with Montana and Young saying that Lance isn't ready? I interpreted Montana's comments to be a bit salty, and I thought, unless there's more recent Steve Young comments, I thought Steve's comments much earlier in the season were factually accurate in that what Kyle Shanahan was saying to us by not playing Trey Lance was that he doesn't give us a better chance to win than Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, I don't see that as a huge disparity or disparaging of Trey Lance. I just think that it is hard to beat out a veteran NFL signal caller, and Lance was very inexperienced. So to me, it's okay that Lance wasn't ready this year. That's why he sat. I think he will be ready by the time he gets the reins in 2022. The talent's there. Texas Niner, @Rob. So wait, I'm hearing people say in the room here that Rodgers choked against the Niners in the playoffs. You were at the game. Niners definitely played. The defense played great. And to say Rodgers didn't play well is downplaying and taking away from how well the Niners defense played in that frozen game. I agree, Texas Niner. That weather, if you did not feel it personally, was bone chilling. Bone chilling. And if you think that did not negatively impact Rodgers, even being the guy who lives in Green Bay, let's remember, he wasn't born in Green Bay. I think the thickness of your blood is determined at birth. And I don't think just living in a place makes you actually that tough. Those dudes that were in the stands of Lambeau with no shirts on, I guarantee they were born in Wisconsin, born in the snow, born in the cold north. And so, yes, the defense was phenomenal. The weather was atrocious. No, I don't think Rodgers choked in that game. I think the Niners defense was phenomenal and that it was a tough environment to play in. Eric Sully, @Rob, starting to get Cordarrelle Patterson trained to SF starting to try to get the Cordarrelle Patterson trained to SF started. What's better than one wide back, two wide backs? Duh. Get Patterson to SF. I like it. Take some of the load off of Deebo Samuel. I would be fine with that. Luke Luna coming in, tattooing and listening, brother. Nothing but love. Appreciate you, Luke. We still got to talk about getting a tattoo going. I mean, I still think that there's a distinct possibility I may need to drive out there from Oregon and get something going here. A little art going. Melvin at Rob, do you believe that Lance would go number 1 in this year's draft? If so, doesn't it seem like the Niners are actually getting a great deal with the Lance trade now? Number 12, 29, and to be determined for number 1 next year? Melvin, yes, I do. And I've said this before. I freaking love the fact that you called this out. It is not a big stretch to assume that if Lance had gone back to school, North Dakota State may have gone undefeated again. And it's not a big stretch from that to take the next logical leap, which is in a quarterback vacant class, he would be the number 1 overall quarterback and most likely the number 1 overall pick. So yes, the value the 49ers got in taking the number 1 overall pick was phenomenal if you look at it right now. And I think they're probably looking to give away a similar draft pick in that 25 to 32 range next year. That deal's not going to look bad when we see how good Trey is and how little we actually had to give up for it with where those first rounders fell. Felipe coming in at Shoe. I would like to get Cordarrelle for a decent price because if Deebo has to miss, we wouldn't miss a beat because of the depth. I think that's a reasonable choice to insulate yourself from an eventual Deebo injury. I mean, the guy plays so hard that he's bound to get injured. And therefore, yes, I think that to insulate yourself from that injury would be prudent. Sean Carlo at Rob Shue. If Trey Lance was a stock, would you invest? Heavy. Buy and hold. HR talking 67 degrees is cold around here. Yes, you would not do well in that Lambeau weather, let me tell you. Bruce R coming in. Clowney at the right price would be great opposite Bosa. I agree. I think that would be a potential value signing at the right price. Got to be at the right price. Tommy Huxley does not agree, saying Clowney being a washed individual. I think he may just be a little too injury prone to invest much in. But again, if you can get value on that one, a reclamation project for Chris Kosarick, let's go. Let's freaking go. All right, jumping back into some previously submitted questions before finishing it out in the comments with you all. Here we go. This one coming in from D9er. In your opinion, do you think Trey Lance will be below average or above? And what will it take for him to get respected around the league? I think Trey will be well above average, even in his first full season as the 49ers starter, which I predict is this year. I believe we will be pleasantly surprised when Kyle has a full offseason to commit to Trey as his starter. I think that we're going to see a well-designed system. I anticipate a system that Trey can take full advantage of, much like the RG3 system, but as more of a pocket passer, not run first, but use the legs as an additional weapon above and beyond the ability to pass from within the pocket. Trey still will be cautious with the football, avoid those costly turnovers, but his legs and powerful arm are going to allow for significantly more explosive plays for this offense. You're still going to have the yak bros. You're still going to have those passes over the middle, but in addition, you've got his legs and some deep shots. As far as earning the respect, all he needs to do to earn that respect in the league, in my opinion, is to get that playing time. Because once he gets that playing time, he's going to show everyone what he's capable of pretty damn quickly. Just look at the difference from week 5 to week 17. It was a phenomenal difference. So much growth happened in between those two. This last one's a joke, and I think it's lighthearted. I hope you guys take it the same way. Coming in from Ron E9er, asking about Coach Shanahan. Is Kyle Shanahan an a-hole? And my answer is no. No, he's not an a-hole. Kyle's just confident. Kyle can act a bit arrogant. He can come across a bit arrogant. But a-holes generally are not liked or respected at the level of Kyle Shanahan. And let me clear this up with what I said about Aaron Rodgers before. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is an a-hole either. I do think he is respected as well. But in sticking to Kyle Shanahan, everything I've heard about Coach leads me to believe he's a guy's guy. Someone that you would enjoy, I don't know, hanging out with on a rooftop and throwing footballs into pizza ovens with. Seems like a delightful guy in my book. He strikes you as a good dude when you hear Debo talk about stopping into his office and having regular conversations with him on a regular basis, saying that, hey, yeah, he may be the head coach, but he's still just a dude. He's still just a guy that likes talking football. So no, I don't take shots at Kyle Shanahan. I never got on board with the fire Kyle Shanahan rant that happened when the Niners slipped to 3-5. Man, I always had faith in Kyle Shanahan, and I still do. I still think of him as a good coach and a good dude. Felipe at Shoe, how do you feel about the CMC rumor? Panthers trade. How would you feel about straight up for Jimmy? I'm in the middle. Yeah, I'd pass just because of spending a considerable amount of money on a running back. I think the 49ers have to find value at certain positions, and they're good at finding value at defensive line castoffs that get reclamation projects under Chris Kosarick and finding value late in drafts and unrestricted free agents with running backs. I think you have to take advantage of that skill set, at least while you have Bobby Turner, our running backs coach, around. He may retire at some point, though. Getting back into the comments, but I've got a super chat. I got to get to it. You know I will scroll back up to get to more of those comments, but that Niner guy coming in. If you're a fan wondering if the Niners have faith in Trey, remember this organization really likes Jimmy, and they all but confirmed right after the season Jimmy was going to be traded. Play the kid. After the season was over, that Jimmy was going to be traded. Yeah, I am very much on board with playing Trey Lance. And it would take Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers to get me off of wanting to play Trey Lance. I would be open, though, to those two situations because of how unique they are, that it's just rare to get that type of talent in the building. But each one of them would need to be in a specific set of circumstances that did not hamstring the 49ers financially, nor prevent them from bringing back their own free agents. So that's my caveat, is that I'm on board with the bring in the GOAT for 1 year because of that idea that it's 1 year, that he probably takes a lesser amount, and that you can go to Trey right after that if it doesn't net you a Super Bowl, but it feels like it probably would. Willie coming in. Curtis Samuel is another Debo type player to add. Curtis Samuel is a baller. That's a fact. Good call out, Willie. Keithy at Rob Shoe, not related for this offseason, but have you checked out any of those Frank Gore Jr. highlights? He looks awesome. No, but man, I got my Frank Gore jersey right over here off screen that you can't see. Love me Frank Gore, and would be fired up if Frank Gore Jr. turned into a baller. Eric at Shoe, Kyle praised Patterson a lot before we played the Falcons, and we flirted with signing him last offseason. Shane coming in. Hey, Rob Shoe, what do you think about trading Jimmy for the 11th pick, drafting Ahmad Gardner if he's still there, and sign Stephon Gilmore? Our cornerbacks would be fire. I actually like Emmanuel Mosley and Ambry Thomas. I would be good with bringing in another cornerback because I don't think having 3 quality corners is a problem. I would love trading Jimmy for the 11th pick. Who I would take with it would be best player available. And if that was Ahmad Gardner at that point, I'd be okay with it. I don't know about bringing in Stephon Gilmore. I like his flexibility in playing slot or outside, but he is on the wrong side of 30 and probably going to be expensive. Ev coming in. Everett Kramer in the building. At Rob Shoe, always brings the polite content. Once again, your spirit shines through, bro. Handled like the gentleman you are. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Ev. In reference to the kerfluffle that happened earlier with the troll that had to put themselves in the comment. Again, it was unfortunate. Texas Niner at Rob. Low price equals good stuff. That's how the New England Patriots do it. Get guys low price and get more out of them. Our D-line coach would coach up Clowney. I'm telling you, you got to find that value in areas where you either have a scheme that covers up that position, like the Niners, and when their pass rush is dominant, covering up the secondary. So Clowney could add to that. And when you have a coach like Chris Kosarick who can make freaking players better, I'm with you, Texas Niner. You got to find that value. NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC coming in at Rob. Wouldn't a free agent guard or tackle be better than another skill player? It depends. The 49ers currently only have 2 wide receivers under contract, Debo and Brandon Ayuk. Now, Jawan Jennings, he's an exclusive rights free agent, so he'll be back, no question. But we need skill players. We have a pretty good depth at offensive line as long as we bring back some of those restricted free agents and others. I do believe the Niners will need to invest in interior line, both in free agency, in trying to re-sign Laken Tomlinson or his replacement, and bringing in a few fill-in pieces and trying to draft Alex Mack's replacement. So yes, I do believe that interior offensive line is a priority. NYCE 1030 at Rob Shue. I think Melvin Gordon would be a good signing. What do you think of Calvin Ridley? He's a deep threat and is, I believe, still on his rookie contract. He is. I spoke about Calvin Ridley earlier. I love him as a talent. I would absolutely explore it. I think you have to be very certain that he's committed himself to football and that he's okay as far as his mental health goes. And I'm very supportive of him in doing whatever he needs to do in order to get his mental health right. There's nothing more important than your mental health. I just take a moment to say this in case you're listening and maybe you have something going on for yourself. I've had things go on for me in my lifetime many a time. And I think for football players, for human beings, for all of us, we got to be conscious of that mental health and put that first and foremost. So I would say that about Calvin Ridley. Melvin Gordon, it goes back to, can you find better value elsewhere? If he's on a vet minimum deal or a very inexpensive contract, I like that. Otherwise, I think you have to find value at the running back position. And the Niners have been good at it to this point. One Bad Hawkeye at Rob. Could Lance make the 49ers the best team in the NFL for the next several seasons? Yes, he could. And I think he could do it with like B+ level play. Just moderately better than Jimmy Garoppolo with fewer turnovers. And that may be enough. That may be enough. Russell at Rob. Remember, we are also saving money on not having to pay for a number 1 draft pick for the next 2 years. It's true. Our draft picks are cheaper to re-sign because we do not have a number 1 overall pick. That's a fact. One Bad Hawkeye at Rob. Could Lance make the Niners? Ooh, we talked about that one. Sean Bay from the 808 from Hawaii. Aloha, Sean Boy. All right. I said Sean Bay because I thought it was Bay, but it's actually Sean Boy. Aloha. At Rob, we need a solid backup quarterback. Lance goes down, then what? Mariota would be perfect, solid fit, and cheap. Kyle wouldn't have to change the game plan. Both Lance and Mariota are mobile quarterbacks. The only correction I have there is my belief that Mariota was cheap last time he was signed with the Raiders. I don't think he's going to be cheap this time. I think he's going to cost a little bit more. I would still do it. I think he's a good fit. I have him below Tyrod Taylor as far as players I would prefer for the backup, but a close second. I'm absolutely on board with Mariota coming into town. Texas Niner at Rob. Kyle losing to the Seahawks twice. I was questioning, but then we went to the NFC Championship. He's good for now. We lose to the Seahawks twice next season. Better not. Yeah, I get being frustrated. Those losses hurt quite a bit. Quite a bit. Felipe agrees. At Shoe, I agree about the CMC comment, but picture this. Trey, CMC, Mostert, Debo on the same field, not to mention Mitchell. LOL, my goodness. Felipe, if they're all healthy, forget about that offense, bro. Forget about that. Man. Ronnie Niner believes at Rob, Kyle's ego won't let Brady or Rodgers come to SF. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with sticking with Trey Lance. Let's do it. Jay Tan at Rob, your thoughts on Derek Stingley? I can't say that I'm familiar with Derek Stingley. Got to look it up. Texas Niner at Rob, 11th pick. I want more O-line picks. I know we don't have good luck with it, but I can't stop trying. I don't see the Niners going because they need guard or center. They don't need a tackle. I'm just not sure they would go that high with an interior line pick. I'd be surprised if they invested that level. Gregory coming in at Rob Shoe. Love your show, and I love the positive ambiance your show brings. Which free agent corners or O-line players should we pursue? I'm all about the Niners pursuing their own free agents in that regard. I think that the Niners should try and bring back in the secondary Jaquiski Tart. K'Wan Williams, I'm not so sold on. I think the Niners are going to go for a mid-grade free agent signing at cornerback. I've yet to target who that will be. Offensive line, you've got to target Laken Tomlinson. To me, it's worth a little bit of an overpay. But if not, there are a couple other names immediately behind Laken where you target them to bring them in as a Laken replacement. But to me, you know what you have in Laken Tomlinson, and he's an Iron Man. Get it done, Niners. One bad Hawkeye. At Rob, could Lance make the Niners? Yes, we talked about that. He could, and he will. All right, looking to see. Giancarlo wants to know, when's your show with Grant? Can't wait. The show with Grant is always Fridays. Sometimes we reschedule the time, but it is standard time, Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's the usual. Here we go. Rob Smith, our fellow sneakerhead, coming in at Rob Shoe. I might have missed it, but I think DJ Reed would make a good addition. That's a good call out. The question right above was, hey, who might we look at as cornerback? That's depth at both the freaking nickel and outside. So to read the comment, I might have missed it, but I think DJ Reed would make a good addition at cornerback. Reed, Mosley, Ward, and bring back Tart. I love that comment, Rob. Rob to Rob here. I love it. I love it. I'm on board. Steve Avia with the super chat. Trey is going to make believers out of all of us. Yes, he is. And everyone in the league. He's going to inspire fear into everyone in the league. Texas Niner at Rob. Positive words for Calvin Ridley. Mental health is important for everyone. Been listening to Brian Buffini lately. Great stuff. Highly recommend people check him out. I will look into that. Brian Buffini. I am unfamiliar, but anyone that's talking about mental health, I'm in. Alan, great show tonight. Appreciate that, Alan. Gregory at Rob Shoe. Trade Jimmy for picks to free up cap space to extend Debo and Bosa and maybe pick up free agent O-line player. Gregory, that's a very solid offseason plan. Prudent, and I agree. I'm there. Rob Smith saying Mitchell Trubisky to back up Trey. I have Mitchell Trubisky as below those other two options that I just listed off. Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota. I like Mitchell Trubisky. I also like, what's the kid who reminds everyone of the guy from Napoleon Dynamite? He's got the mustache. Man, it starts with an M as well. I just can't pull it right now. Texas Niner says take that 11th and trade down for more picks. You just take that 11th and you run with it if you can get the 11th. All right. Just going to finish up on some comments here. One bad Hawkeye at Rob. If we get the 11th, I think we should go after center Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa. Interesting. I'd be down with that if Mack is retiring. Otherwise, which Tommy asks, you think Alex Mack retires? I don't. I think he goes one more year and then retires. Johnny Robinson asking, how much would Tart cost, though? And he's yelling it. He's very excited. Johnny's excited. I'm excited, too. Bring back Tart. I think you could probably get it done for $2 million a year. It's not a long-term deal. It requires Tart to eat a little more crow, and maybe he doesn't want to, especially after, some of the flack he may catch for the blown interception chance. I thought he was a stand-up dude the way he came to the presser. I've got nothing but respect for Jaquiski Tart. Nothing but respect. I hope that we can bring him back on a team-friendly deal. Yes, Gardner Minshew was the name I couldn't pull just a moment ago. Keithy7, at Rob Shoe, would you prefer Joe Hayden or DJ Reed? DJ Reed, because it looks to me like Hayden's lost a step. Is that just me, or has he lost a step? William Bennett. What's up, William? I'm a big William Bennett fan. Comes on the Sneakerhead call-in show. and contributes at Rob Shue, my guy. I hope that Trey can pull off the touch pass. We know he has a strong arm. I'm telling you, the full offseason of working on the mechanics is going to be critical for him. I love it. Darren pointing out, yes, at Rob, Jay Glazer is awesome when it comes to mental health. Yeah, the book that he talked about went on with Matt Mayoko recently, all about that. The dude is fit, is running his own gyms as far as getting people MMA ready, and wakes up every morning and has to deal with his own mental health. I respect the hell out of him for calling that out. Texas Niner confirming Gardner Minshew was the pull. People beat him to it. NYCE 1030 at Rob Shue. What do you think about the new coaches joining the team? Have we filled the wide receiver coach position yet? Yes, we filled that from within. It was Leonard Hankerson. I love that promotion. Have not filled special teams as far as I'm aware. Have not filled the tight end position coach. Did fill in the linebacker position coach as well. I'm good with everyone that we've brought into this point, but I'm looking for more information because we just haven't really had the full release of players or coaches coming in, I should say. Johnny at Rob Shue, thanks for addressing my question. Much appreciated. Johnny, you are very welcome. I love the interaction. Love it. Felipe Shue, sounds like Rodgers is going to retire. I didn't get that vibe from him today or from the Instagram post, but I do think it's up in the air. I wouldn't want that around the organization. I get a different vibe from A-Rod than I do from TB12. And maybe it's because he's unhappy where he is. Maybe his mental health isn't in the greatest spot. I should probably get past that because the arm talent would be something else. But hey, let's be excited with what we got right now. And that's Trey Lance, man. That is going to be freaking fun to watch. That Niner guy coming in. At Rob Shue, hit that like button, ladies and gents. I miss football. I do too. That Niner guy. And I appreciate you saying that because it does help my channel. It does help my video to get the content out there, to get people to see it. So if you do enjoy the content, please do hit the like button. If you do enjoy all my shows, consider subscribing. Hit the little bell notification and make sure you turn on your YouTube notifications as well. You got to do both. You got to get my notifications turned on, and you've got to allow YouTube notifications to get to you on whatever platform you use it. That is all the time we have for today's show. I thoroughly enjoyed this interaction. I love the dialogue that we have. I'm glad that we dealt with whatever negativity came into the show, cut it off, got it out of here, and talked about it a little bit. And to me, that was a cool moment to be able to call that out and to shout down that negativity and to share that with folks. I got a couple more comments that have questions. I'm going to try to answer, and then I'm out because it's about that time. But you know me, I can't help it. Oh, and look, Ellis10 coming in with the contribution. Ellis, I appreciate that. Official BNA Music 88. At Rob Shue, everyone makes a big deal about Trey Lance working with a QB guru, but did Jimmy ever work with anybody in the offseason? I don't know. We never heard from Jimmy in the offseason. It's a fair point. One Bad Hawkeye wants to know, at Rob, how do I become a sneakerhead? That's a good question. You can do it by hitting the little join button. When you hit subscribe, it then turns into a join. I gather that on an iPhone, you can't really find that join button. On an Android, it's there, and on the desktop version, it is very easy to hit the join button on the desktop version. So go to the desktop, even hit the desktop thing on your Apple phone, right? Hit the desktop version of the web browser, and then you should be able to hit the join button to become a sneakerhead of the channel. And Rob Smith, this is a great question from a sneakerhead. At Rob Shue, are you going to the combine? It looks like I might be. This is an exciting update that I buried the lead. End of the show. We, got less people on than we did just a moment ago, and they just missed out on the fact that, yes, there's a good chance, Rob, that Rob may be going to the freaking NFL Combine. I'm waiting to do any sort of official announcement until I get the actual credentials in my hot little hand, but I got an email stating as much that I should be getting that access, and this guy is fired up. Who has two thumbs and is really excited? This guy. Yes. I'm very pumped. Raphael 5629ers, sneakerhead on the channel, coming in to show some love. It's appreciated, Raphael. Shane at Rob Shoe, can't wait till next live video, bro. Great material. Hey, I appreciate you, Shane. And yes, you may get some live freaking combine coverage. This guy may be headed to Indianapolis. It's a long freaking flight from Portland to Indianapolis. And I hope that I can get some good food recommendations for people because I'm a food guy and I want to eat while I'm there. I am excited, very excited. And I can't believe I forgot to share that. I'm so thrilled that that someone reminded me to put that out there. One Disciple 79 at Rob Shoe, first-time watcher, and enjoy your channel. Go Niners. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming on. I hope that if you did like it, you considered hitting the like button and considered subscribing as well. Man, I got to stop answering comments because I'll just keep going. Felipe at Shoe, how can you or we help Trey to go to Tom House or Josh Allen? I'm not sure. I think he is working with, the name is escaping me. I know who, John Beck. I think he's working with John Beck this offseason, and I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Vicky, what's up, Vicky? One of our sneakerheads on the channel at Rob Shoe. That would be sweet if you can go to the combine. I'm telling you, there would be all sorts of freaking live videos and weird like one-offs and pictures that I will load to the sneakerhead community on the freaking community tab. It's going to be lit. Jason Aponte is going to be there. I would hang out with him. It's not confirmed yet, but I'm telling you. E. Kim at Rob, St. Elmo's Steakhouse in Indianapolis. E. Kim comes through with the recommendations, and I always appreciate it. All right, that's all the time we have. We've hit the 90-minute mark. I got to go, but it is always a pleasure. I will be on tomorrow between two beards at 5 p.m. on this channel with Random McMahon. Until then, you do know the drill. Cheers, Niner faithful.